Today on Home Care Heroes, we have a real treat. Nick Bonitatibus from the Digital Champs is going to take us through how to create videos that are easy to make and will attract both caregivers and clients to your home care agency. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Home Care Heroes podcast, featuring trending topics and practical wisdom for success in home care. Here's your host, Ken Accardi.
Well, hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Home Care Heroes. I have a super special guest today. His name is Nick Bonitatibus, and he is joining us from his home studio in San Diego, California. And it is a bright and sunny day where he is today. I'm here in Boston, Mass, and it's getting a little bit dark out. And we're going to talk about a great topic, which is how to attract more clients and caregivers for your home care agency online and using social media. And that's kind of Nick's wheelhouse. So with that, let me first say welcome to Nick Bonitatibus.
Thank you so much for having me. And you nailed my name. So very impressive. Well done. Thank you so much for having me.
Excellent. Well, it's great to have you here. So I actually met Nick face-to-face at one of the conferences with our mutual friend, Steve the Hurricane. And that was in the cold winter in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, just like George Washington spent one there. And I really did learn a lot from Nick. Nick was the master of ceremonies, and I actually had the pleasure of having a nice dinner with Nick and learning a lot about him. And I'm really just honored and happy that he's here on the podcast with you today. And okay, so this is a great topic that you've teed up. And I guess that really the first question we'll start with is, how do you formulate even like an effective online strategy, for digital marketing, for recruiting new clients and new caregivers?
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to home care, this is a very personal business. You're dealing with patients, you're dealing with loved ones, you're dealing with, social workers referring you to people that they want to make sure they're taken care of. And so building relationships and getting people to know you, like you, and trust you is such a huge part of this business, because we don't want to just give it to someone else. We don't want to just give our business to anyone. We want to make sure we're in good hands. And so when we can leverage tools like social media, we're able to present our business, our brand, the people around our brand as those individuals, and showcasing and getting people to know who we are and what the goals are, what your mission is, what your why is. That's something that people can get behind. That's what people want to hear about. They don't want these stock photos. They don't want this thing that everyone else is doing. And so social media presents us with this opportunity to showcase our brand in a way that allows us to really connect with people, from caregivers to referral sources to clients, from that full aspect to getting that trust factor. And the truth is, when it comes to social media, it is word of mouth. Like, it's a fundamental piece. And so we all know that word of mouth referrals is by far one of the best referral sources that you can possibly have. And by doing that on social media, you can expand your reach to so much greater. I mean, there are thousands upon thousands of people on social media across billions of people, if you realistically across the world and across platforms. There are so many people out there, and you never know who's going to see you and want to refer you, right? And so we have this opportunity to connect and be in front of so many more people at a much lower cost. You don't need to have these big, crazy budgets like some of these big companies doing $1 million Super Bowl commercials, right? We can leverage our own community, our own audience, by utilizing social media.
Perfect. And so we have our website, and then what would you say are the top social media platforms for a home care agency to be on top of?
Absolutely. Right now, I recommend Facebook, Instagram. I've really been pushing a lot of my clients to get onto Instagram. I think some are hesitant, but if you're already using Facebook, then you might as well start leveraging Instagram. The other one is LinkedIn, very underutilized, because when it comes to LinkedIn, this is really good for referral sources, because you can see where people work. You can see, so if there's certain referral sources that you want to connect with, you can see, okay, this is the company, they're referring X amount of patients a month, all right, we want to target them. We want to be able to reach out to them. We want to be able to connect with them. And now you can see multiple people. Hey, do you have any mutual connections? Because LinkedIn does that also. Now you have, hey, can you make an introduction? And so we have, like, you don't have that disposal in many other places where it's literally telling you exactly who these people are, where they work, and being able to make those connections. And at the same time, getting people to know you by having an active social media in what you're posting on LinkedIn once you've made these connections, so that they continue to refer you once you've connected with them. And so that's a huge one. Then the last one is YouTube. And that is by far the most underutilized one, is really leveraging one from an SEO perspective. In people, YouTube is the second largest search engine behind Google, and Google owns YouTube. And so when people are looking for information, they're typing into Google. And so if you can create resources, create tools, create video content that's around answering frequently asked questions that people are searching, that's going to be super powerful, especially when they're coming to, your website and looking for more resources. Just by having a video from YouTube on your website actually increases your SEO as well. And then, not to mention, just circling back to the know, like, trust factor, is being on video really helps to improve that know, like, trust factor by having a face, having a real person in front of you to be able to connect with and see, okay, this isn't some logo, this is a real person.
Yeah, fantastic. So I guess I want to move on with our agenda, but there's just so much fascinating stuff here. I want to drill a little bit deeper. So we've all seen the websites with the exact same stock photos of the elderly people who are in home care. And we just get to that site and we're like, oh man, that old guy again, sort of thing. And what would you recommend instead? I mean, here I am, I have a story, I got into home care because I took care of my mom, and I really, found out that I was good at it. And then more people kept asking me, so I have this great story that I want to tell. But I mean, what should people see when they come to your website, so right away you're differentiated?
Absolutely. Yeah. The one thing, and you touched on it a little bit. So if you guys have ever read the book Start With Why by Simon Sinek, I talk about it all the time because I think it's such a powerful book in really understanding that people do business with, as I mentioned, with who they know, they like, and they trust, right? But they want to get behind brands. They want to get behind a why. And then this works with caregivers too, in getting your organization behind your why. And what I love about home care, in my experience, again, since I've been in the industry since 2014, I have heard so many amazing stories, and everyone's got a very unique story of why they got into home care. And so that's always the first video that I recommend that people create, and putting it front and center on your website, because it's going to be twofold. One, it's going to help for you to connect with your audience on a personal level by sharing that story, right? The second thing is, one, it's a video, so it's going to be very eye-catching to getting that level of exposure. People like to watch videos. Also, video converts higher than any other medium, so you actually get more people that are going to end up signing up for your services because they're watching you on video. And then again, that know, like, trust factor, to feeling, hey, this is somebody that I can trust. This isn't just some stock video or some super professional. And again, and that's the other side of it too. And we can dive down that rabbit hole or not, but like, it doesn't need to be so fancy. It's about being real, because that's what people want in today's world. This, like, super polished is not what's winning right now in the marketplace. It's real, it's raw, it's real people. People do business with people. And so showcasing you as the owner is going to be your best marketing tool in showcasing yourself and your story and your team. So like with your website, like putting real photos of real clients, of you, of your team. You can hire a photographer. I mean, a friend, put on Facebook, hey, I'm looking for an amateur photographer. Like, I'll pay you, and you can pay them, $100 for the day. It's a low investment, right? It doesn't have to be this like crazy professional wedding photographer that you bring in. You just want something simple. And I mean, you can take it on your phone if you want, but getting some pictures of your team, of you, so that you can cover your website with it, because it's going to be so much more impactful when they see real people that you're working with, real people, and who they're connecting with, when they're calling, and who they're seeing is answering the phone, or who's showing up to their home for doing a consultation, and getting that introduction prior to them even contacting you is going to increase more people wanting to contact you.
Very good. All right, I think we're going to move on to kind of part 2 here, which is I love the fact that when we were talking before we started recording here, that you really impressed upon me, and you want to impress upon the audience. It's not just about attracting clients for your agency. Today it's really about attracting caregivers as much as clients. And I would actually say that when I find small agencies that are struggling with growth, they all say, oh, it's because I'm not getting the clients. But if I talk to large agencies that can't help but grow, they all say it's because I have the caregivers and that sort of thing. So it sounds like, the website, where we might all be thinking, well, I want to attract clients with my website and with my digital presence and all that, it's really probably just as important, maybe even more important, to focus on attracting caregivers. And so I guess with that, what do you want to do in terms of messaging? And I guess, just mixing that, I mean, obviously clients and caregivers, but in the area of messaging, how do you sort of make a difference between, well, we're going to help your mom with her hygiene, and we're going to give her a bath, and we're going to, clean the kitchen. Everybody's going to do that. Like what does that prospective client or that prospective caregiver want to hear that makes it more about maybe them than about you, and that sort of thing? With all that, I mean, there's a lot to talk about there, but let's just kind of talk about the concept of messaging and what the right messaging is.
Absolutely.
Go for it.
Yeah, that's such a great question. And, it's one of those things, and this is a fundamental piece in all marketing, is when we think about our audience, that's what really matters, is thinking about them and less about what we're doing for them. So in other words, we want to focus on the results and what our target audience is going to get. And so when it comes to attracting clients and you're saying, hey, well, we do, medication reminders and light housekeeping and all this stuff, it's like, they don't care about that. They want the results that come from that. And so in many cases, when it comes with working with clients, it's the results of peace of mind, right? Or less stress for the child that's getting the care for their parent. And so if we know who our audience are, which most of the time, right, we're not targeting the seniors, we're targeting the parent or the child in this case, that needs to care for their parent. And they're the ones that are stressed and overwhelmed because they have their own thing that they need to deal with. They have their own family that they're worrying about. And so when we can speak directly to them and what the results of what having a caregiver can do, peace of mind, increased energy within, the loved one, helping them live happier lives. That's what we're really selling. We're not selling, light housekeeping and medication reminders. That's just part of the process. And the same thing works from the caregiver element, is instead of selling from the job description, and I use the word selling very intentionally here, and that when it comes to recruiting caregivers, we are selling 100%. And we need to leverage everything that we're doing in thinking about it from a sales mindset, and not of like, oh, we need caregivers, let's get them. It's like, no, we need to sell to these caregivers. How can we sell to them? Well, what do they want, right? We're not selling the job description into, oh, well, this is, medication reminders, this is what you're going to do. You're going to work. No, a lot of, if you've studied some of the home care pulse report and different studies that they say, it's this aspect of most caregivers are in the business because they want to care for people. They want to make a difference. And so that's how our marketing should be attracting is, hey, do you want to make a difference in the lives of your community, right? That's the hook. That's the messaging. That's how we're drawing people in. And then we're presenting them with other problems that maybe they have. Like, for example, and every caregiver is different in the different marketing efforts that we're doing. So from a messaging standpoint, we don't want to use the same messaging because it's different. You may want to target nursing students. So then one of your posts or, job postings or whatever it may be, maybe, are you a nurse or are you an aspiring nurse looking to get experience? Now somebody who is a nurse is like, oh, wow, this is great. What's this? And now you can attract nurses and you can get them, but that's a different audience of a caregiver. You may have somebody that works at an assisted living that has so many patients that they're caring for. They're overwhelmed and they're getting paid the same amount that they would be doing for you, but they only have to work with one patient. And so you're addressing that, like, hey, are you working, in a facility and tired of working with tons of patients? How would you like to work with just one? And so now we're speaking directly to that person. And so if they are a nurse that's looking for experience, they're like, oh my gosh, this is for me. Or if they are in the assisted living, you're speaking to their pain point, like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm so stressed out because I have to work with all these patients and I don't get paid more for working with more patients. I just have to run around and do it, right? And so when we're thinking about this, and this is an effective strategy in everything that we do. So social media, videos, emails, flyers, brochures. How are we focusing our messaging at our ideal audience and speaking to them, not about ourselves? And the more that we think about that from a sales perspective, it's going to drive more sales. It's going to attract more people because people can connect with that and they don't feel like they're being talked at. We want to be talked to. And that's where messaging is so important.
Wow, incredible. I love the answer. And you broke down a lot of things there. I guess, one thing I've come to learn is that why caregivers leave in a lot of cases is that, once they've been attracted to the market and, they have that heart for caring or whatever it is, it really kind of sometimes comes down to, I'm really trying to get this many hours. And sometimes the reason they leave is because, they maybe have signed up with an agency and that agency's gotten them 15 hours, but they're really looking for 40 hours. They're looking for 36 hours or something like that. So I guess I'm just trying to put it in perspective of, yes, they have that heart for caring, they have that nursing thing, but now I'm also trying to appeal personally. So I'm maybe making a video with my own face. And if I, kind of say something and it's like, and by the way, I view my job as getting you the hours that you want and things like that, is that kind of messaging, kind of working as well? And I guess I'm just kind of, it sounds like most of what you talked about is like how you would attract somebody to apply for a job in home care. But now that they know that they could get home care jobs in a lot of different agencies, maybe it actually segues us into a different point is like, how do you make yourself differentiated?
Yeah, absolutely. And focusing on the retention process here. And there's a lot of different elements to how we're retaining these these caregivers once we've got them, is really understanding what it is that they want. So if it is hours, right, then that's something that we're going to work on delivering for them. But a lot of times they just want to feel more appreciated in what they're doing. And there's other ways to incentivize caregivers for loyalty by sticking around. And so there's different things that you can do. So it's like, hey, if you're with us for 1 year, you get this. If you're with us for this, you get another incentive. There's different bonus packages that you can do where, hey, when they do something good, they earn certain points, and then you're able to reward them to pick out of a bunch of prizes that maybe you have that they can choose from, right? And so, and the other side of this too is if they're really happy, they're not going to leave you. They're going to stick around. And so if we don't treat them like they're just a number and they're disposable, then it's going to come from the same thing where they're going to want to stay with you. Maybe they want to help. Hey, they need more hours and you want to help them get more hours. How can they refer you, right? Because that's another thing that so often people aren't thinking about is, one, from additional revenue standpoint, right, is how can the caregiver earn more money? Because that's a hook, right? That's messaging too, is how can you earn more money as a caregiver, right? Letting them know, well, one, you can refer us clients. Two, you can refer us caregivers, right? Three, longevity is how long you're with us. And then focus on performance, right? The higher that you perform based on these credentials, if you do this, you show up on time, and let them know, because that's the biggest thing when it comes to caregiving and understanding that a lot of these individuals, these caregivers, may not know what it actually is to being a good employee. And so it is your job to educate them on what they need to do to be the best employee, because not all of us had, either parents or different upbringings on all these different things, and they're not seeing that. But if you could educate them on, hey, here are the exact things that you can do that will make you a better employee, that will allow me to pay you more money. And so now we're speaking to their language in getting more earnings. Then now, all right, we can leverage that. And so when we communicate this, and in many cases, I recommend with a lot of my students is like doing this in a video format, because again, it just gets your message across. Comprehension is better in a video format, and making sure that they fully understand it, as well as other additional video training. So it's like, what are some other incentives that you offer that can be used as a recruitment technique as well as a retention, is having ongoing training, right? And being able to continue to educate them so that they can grow and earn more. Oh, hey, if you do more educational, get more certifications, then we could pay you more too. And again, now we're speaking to that language. And often a lot of caregivers want to learn more in general, as well. But a side note too, and this is just a little tangent of appreciation and how we can incorporate video into what we do from an appreciation standpoint. This is one of my favorite things, all-time favorite things to do, is sending a video message to someone and telling them how much you appreciate them. And you could use this for everything. You can use this for friends, relatives, caregivers, referral sources, whatever it may be. And sending them a video message and just saying, hey, say their name. Hey, Ken, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for having the podcast. Thank you so much for all that you do for this industry. It is so amazing. I really appreciate it. I'm so glad that we were able to connect and meet at the boot camp. And I'm so excited to work with you in the future. Thank you so much for all that you do. Bye. Boom. That was like 30 seconds, if that, right? It takes no time at all. Boom, send that mess. So many people do not send videos. They don't do it. They're scared to, or whatever reason. And this is how we stand out, because it's only going to one person, right? So it's not a big deal. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be professional. You don't need a mic. You don't need any of that stuff. You just take out your phone, you record it and send it. And this can be so impactful to sending that to one of your caregivers when they've done an excellent job, or if it's their birthday, right? Birthdays are a great trigger point in just like with contacts, with people, to just wish them a happy birthday. And you just lead with the appreciation, and you're being very specific to what you appreciate about them or what they have done. Oh, you'll be amazed at the impact you have. I've gotten the most incredible responses from people whenever I send one of those. Every once in a while, I'll get a video response back, which is always great, but it's very rare. It's very rare that I get a video response back. But again, you can think about this from a standpoint of, have you ever received a video message from somebody? I'm going to guess probably not. And if you have, it's very few, if not any, right? And so you can tell, all right, well, if other people aren't doing this, then you know that this is going to help you to stand out. You know that this is going to set you apart from other people, other providers out there that are trying to get your caregivers. It's going to set you apart from other referral sources that are trying to get referrals. We got to do things that are going to help us stand out. And something as simple as a 30-second video, 45-second video can help you to do that.
Fantastic. All right. So I'm a pretty high-tech guy. I mean, I know how to do a podcast. I'm going to have the podcast in all the podcast players here, the Apple and the Spotify and the Google Podcasts and, iHeartRadio and all those kinds of things. It'll be there. But I'm not really sure I know how to send a video message to somebody. So, here I am. I mean, I have my Android phone or whatever. I could certainly record a video. I mean, when you do this, just give us a little bit more of the mechanics. Like, how are you recording that little message? How are you sending it to the person and that kind of thing? Give us a little bit more detail on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's really two ways that I generally recommend going about this. The first way is asking, like, are you connected with them? It's really about where you're connected and where the communications is happening. So for example, from the caregiver standpoint, it's going to be much easier to potentially record it on your phone and just text it to them, or how you record it. You can also record it using an app called Loom, Loom. Loom is really awesome because it actually tracks whether or not they opened the email or opened the message and watched the video, and you'll get a notification like, hey, this person watched the video. And you can, I know sometimes with Android and iPhone, it can be hard to send video messages. I know with some people, like if I try and send a video from a text message standpoint to somebody that has an Android, when I have an iPhone, it doesn't work that well. That's where Loom can come in. But if you are sending iPhone to iPhone, then you can send the video directly. The other aspect is through social media. And so when we're leveraging, and this is kind of a side note in how the algorithms work, is that when you are communicating with somebody in the direct messaging of social media, whether it be LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and you're having that conversation, they are now going to be more likely to see your content and vice versa, because you're telling the algorithm, hey, like these people are friends, they're talking, we should show them more of their stuff. And so this can be a really effective strategy when you're leveraging it with maybe referral sources on LinkedIn to actually send the video message via LinkedIn and not sending it via Loom, because we want to keep them on the platform, and just recording the video right on our phone, just like this. Hey, what's up? How's it going? Pull out your phone, vertical, horizontal, doesn't matter. And then just sending it right through the social media platform. That's going to help with the algorithm. And then again, it's going to help with increased engagement if you do have an active social media presence. So that's all that's the side part of the strategy. And then the other side of using Loom, you can easily send it via email, because it's just like a simple link. Loom actually it'll say, hey, type in the email address, and then Loom will just like send it off for you, which makes it really easy.
Fantastic. So I'll check out both of those, and I'd like to incorporate that. And I'm even thinking like B2B. I mean, a lot of the folks that we deal with, we email them and that kind of thing. So I could just, email them, hey, click here for a video message, and then I could just put it up on YouTube as a private message or that kind of thing. Or if I am engaged with them on social media, I could send it directly through the social media channel. So very, very good. Yeah. And I guess a lot of your point is, don't overthink it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just sing a song. It doesn't matter if it's good enough for anyone else to hear. Just sing your song, that kind of thing. All right. So listen, we've covered, time is flying when we're having fun here. We've covered so many things here, like how you want people to know you, like you, trust you. You want to take the advice of Simon Sinek. It's all about, why are you here? What brought you to this industry? And that's a real differentiator for you. You want to get your digital presence out there. You want people to see your face. And you really want to make sure that you're messaging the benefits to them as opposed to you. So when you're messaging to those clients, we talked about how it's all about, we could take stress out of your life. We could give you the peace of mind to know that mom's being well cared for. Mom's going to be more engaged. She's going to be doing more things and various things like that. And it's coming from you personally. And then when we get on the caregiver side, it's like, to attract caregivers, it's all about, you have this heart for caring, you're studying to be a nurse, that type of thing. But then you could always kind of practice your little elevator pitch of, and what do you get with our agency is, first of all, I see my job as getting you the hours that you want. We also have great ways of training you. And if you stand out, you could grow and blah, blah, blah. So you can kind of attract them, but then, follow up with what are the things that are important to them. They're going to get the money, they're going to get the growth, they're going to get the leadership, but also infusing in there those important pieces about, doing it the right way. They might not have that work ethic and say, and if you're somebody who I could rely on and, you're always showing up for your shifts and you're going out of your way, and you can kind of get all that as well. And then they not only see you as somebody who's looking out for them, but also mentoring them. And so many great examples here. So, Nick, it sounds like, for people who didn't know you maybe before listening to this podcast, they might not realize that you do this for a living for home care agency. So tell us a little bit about, what you offer and how you can, help a home care agency. And if they're just hearing about you, maybe they're driving in their car to meet a new prospect and they're hearing about this, what could you tell them so they could remember and go find you and learn more about how they could, learn more from you?
Absolutely. First off, excellent recap. Amazing listening skills. So well done, Ken. That was awesome. Really, for me, it's all about giving you the skill sets so that you can implement these strategies yourself. And so I'm a business coach and I specialize in helping home care business owners to leverage social media, get more leads to attract clients and caregivers. And I have a free training called Social Media Success, which is going to break down exactly what to do. And if you're like, man, well, Nick, like, what do you offer? What are you selling? I go over that in the training, but it's the best place to start for your journey, whether you're advanced in social media or you're a beginner. It really goes over so much of the important pieces of understanding, because we've touched on a bunch of different stuff. It's really going to break it down in simplicity, and you can watch it whenever you want. You get instant access when you watch that training, and then you can go from there.
All right, that sounds perfect. So what I'll do is, so a lot of folks are gonna hear this. Well, they'll see it on YouTube. So we'll put up this interview on YouTube, and you'll see our faces as we go through this. If you're watching on YouTube, you could just go down, scroll down underneath, and in the notes, I'll make sure that we have that link that'll take you right to Nick's free program, and about the social media and that kind of thing. If you're listening, I think if I wrote this down correctly earlier, I mean, the website is thedigitalchamps.com. And if you could remember thedigitalchamps.com/social, then that'll take you right to the training. But, I guess the important things to remember, and you could Google any of these and you're going to find Nick, but it's Nick Bonitatibus. It's it's thedigitalchamps.com. If you could remember thedigitalchamps.com/social, you'll find it. And, any other way, I mean, when you do listen to the Home Care Heroes podcast, you could go to the number 4 homecareheroes.com. You'll find it there. And then the notes will, of course, be there as well. So you could find Nick. And with that, Nick, I'll give you the final word. And thanks for being here with us today on the Home Care Heroes podcast.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I think, one thing to always remember, and if you're watching the video, you can see I intentionally wore my shirt. This is my slogan. It says, "Let's grow together." And this is the most important thing in everything that you do in your business, is understanding it. And in your life, in my opinion, is that we're all on this planet together, and things are a lot better when we work together and collaborate. And that's really my mission, is to help more people and work together so that we can all grow.
What a great closing note. Thanks again, Nick, and have a great day, everybody.
Thanks for joining us today on the Home Care Heroes podcast. Home Care Heroes is produced by Ancoda, the software for the heroes of home care. You can listen to back episodes by visiting 4homecareheroes.com. That's the number 4, then the words homecareheroes.com.